Hey, how you doing? It's Tyson Franklin here. I am doing something a little bit different. Every week I do a mini episode for It's No Secret with Dr. T. So I thought I'd do this one, but I'd do it shooting Facebook Live at exactly the same time. So this week's episode is actually titled 13 Reasons Why You Should Start a Podcast. Now, I must admit, I'm a little bit nervous because I have the camera on me right at this moment while I'm doing the recording. So it's going to be interesting when you watch this video, and then if you happen to go back and listen to this episode, the difference between what I'm saying now in this live video and the final edited product. So let's see. Let's get stuck into this. 13 reasons why you should start a podcast. So having a podcast is one of the best ways to stand out from the crowd. It's a busy world out there. And if you do want to stand out, a lot of people think with podcasting, there's so many podcasts now, is it too late to actually get involved in podcasting? And no, it's not. And depending on how you use it, you can actually make yourself stand out from everybody else. Now, I don't know how many people you know that have podcasts. And if you know me personally, if you're watching this Facebook Live video, then the numbers might be pretty low. And I am running a workshop in November. I think it's the 24th, might be the 25th of November. And it's all about how to start a podcast. So this is what actually prompted me to do this, just to show you the process that I go through and how sometimes I stuff things up a lot. But then when I do the edit, sometimes it actually makes me sound pretty good. So one was stand out from the crowd. Number two, increase business referrals. So depending on how you actually use your podcast, you can actually get a lot more business referrals, a lot more referrals into your business by doing podcasting. Number three is it strengthens networking relationships. So I go to a lot of networking events, and even when you're there, you get to talk about podcasting, and it gives you that bond with people. And there's a lot of people I meet through networking that I end up having on my shows. When I went to Podcast Movement, which is the shirt I'm wearing at the moment that was in Philadelphia, I met a lot of people there, and a lot of those people have been and will be guests on my show, and that builds and strengthens those relationships. Number four, connect with leaders in your industry. So regardless of what industry you're actually in, if you want to connect with other people that are quite important in your industry, then start a podcast. It's one of the best ways of doing it. Number five, become an industry leader and expert. So even in your own profession or industry, regardless of what you're actually doing, you can actually, once again, you're standing out from the crowd, but you're actually putting yourself out there as knowing a little bit more. And if you're prepared to get there and what I'm doing now, put it on video or actually record your voice and put it out there, sometimes it can be very nerve-wracking. But once you actually start putting it out there, it gets a lot easier. Number six, you connect deeper with your existing clients. So if you've got a business and your business might be finance, for example. Now you would have a lot of clients. If you want to connect with those clients on a more deeper level, actually start a podcast. And actually let them know that you have a podcast. And by doing that, they're going to tune into you each week. If they like what you're saying and the information you're providing is important, they're going to tune in on a regular basis. And those clients are going to start telling other people. It's a great way of getting referrals. So number seven, build your personal and professional profile. Putting yourself out there always builds your personal profile. But if you've got a business, it's going to build that profile at the same time. Number eight, strengthen your brand, which comes back to your business as well. So when I had my podiatry clinic, when I had Pro Arch Podiatry, if I still had that business now, I'd be mentioning Pro Arch Podiatry a lot more often during my podcast. And that would actually be promoting not just my personal brand, but also the brand of my business. Number nine, helps develop educational tools. So a lot of people think to learn about podcasting, you have to actually be doing a podcast on a regular basis. But just learning about audio and how audio works, there's so many ways that you can actually use audio in your business. To give you a perfect example, when I had my podiatry clinic, we would explain to people, we would fit orthotics or inserts into their shoes. They would then leave the clinic, we give them all the instructions, but imagine doing a recording and actually with the instructions of what you've just told them, and then giving them whether it was a CD, or it might be an MP3 that you put together. You might put it on your website where the instructions are. You say, when you get home, if you want to listen to those instructions again, they're on my website. Or you could give them a CD and say, listen to this on the way home. And that reinforces the information that you've already given them. Number 10, take your marketing to the next level. I actually think podcasting is the most cost-effective way of actually marketing everything that you do. If you have a business, this is a great way to actually market your business. And you can do a couple of different ways. One, you can actually have guests on, which I had David Rowlands, who is a world-renowned author. I actually was interviewing him about an hour ago. And it was an amazing story. That's going to come out later on in November. And then before that, I had Josh Remington on, who was a social media expert. So it's a great way of actually taking your marketing to the next level. And it's a great way of creating content. Is when you're actually doing a podcast, everything you're actually saying, everything that I'm explaining now, when this is put into written format, this is content that you can use on your website and on social media. Number 12, become a better speaker. I must admit, since I've been doing podcasting, it's taught me a couple of things. One, it's taught me to listen more for when I actually have guests on. So if I go back a step, I said with podcasting, you can either have a guest or you can do a solo show like I'm actually doing now. And by doing podcasting, you become a better listener, especially when you're actually got guests on, because you have to listen to what they say. You can't be thinking about what you're going to say next. You really need to listen to the conversation. And by doing that, and you're listening, especially when you're doing the editing process afterwards, when you sit back and you listen to yourself on audio, you get to hear all your ums and ahs and all your pauses. You end up becoming a better speaker by doing podcasting. And number 13, podcasting opens doors that you didn't even know existed. And I must admit, since starting podcast, I've connected with so many amazing people all around the world. And it's given me opportunities to do speaking to do speaking. I was in Powell River a couple of weeks ago, and it gave me the confidence to actually contact Powell River Chamber of Commerce and say, hey, I'm going to be in town. Is there any chance we can do a talk? That I can do a talk. Now, they put together a luncheon. We had 50 people there, and it was an amazing lunch. Now, that door would not have been opened, or I may not have even had the confidence to even inquire about it if it wasn't because of podcasting. So they're my 13 reasons why you should start a podcast. It's not hard to do. I am running a course on it in Cairns on the 25th of November, how to start a podcast. If you're interested, please go to my website, tysonfranklin.com. Just click on events and you will see it there. Okay, I hope you got something from this. And if you've ever considered doing a podcast, stop sitting on the fence. Just do it. It's not that hard. But it definitely does help if somebody gives you a little bit of guidance. I was given guidance when I started my podcasting, and that's the reason why I'm doing the workshops. Okay, that's it from me, and I will talk to you again next week. Bye for now.